Most people think success is a result of a secret system or a sudden burst of motivation. But the truth is much simpler and much harder. Today, I am going to give you the exact 90-day discipline framework that transformed a failing 28-year-old into a financially free entrepreneur. If you've been hitting snooze on your dreams, it's time to wake up. We live in a world obsessed with hacks, but the sources tell us there is no secret motivation trick. David, our case study, spent a decade trying to find the easy way, only to end up stuck in an entry-level job with 3 failed businesses. He had to return to his father's rice fields to learn that discipline isn't a feeling, it's a choice made regardless of the weather. This framework is designed to help you build that same unshakable consistency. The first step in this 90-day reconstruction is simple, but often ignored. Choose one thing. Most people fail because they try to change 10 habits at once. They want to eat better, run a marathon, and start a business all in the same week. The sources show us that David's father didn't give him a list of 20 chores. He gave him one bee in the fields at 5:00 a.m. This is your non-negotiable commitment. It could be reading 10 pages, exercising for 20 minutes, or like David, waking up 30 minutes earlier to work on a dream. By focusing on just one thing, you remove the decision fatigue that usually leads to quitting. When your alarm goes off, there is no debate. There is only the one thing you promised yourself you would do. But picking the goal is the easy part. How do you ensure you actually follow through when the weather turns bad? Once you have your one thing, you must commit to it for 90 days straight. Why 90 days? Because the sources explain that consistency beats intensity. David didn't become successful because he worked 20 hours in one day. He became successful because he showed up for 90 days without exception. The rule is strict. If you break the chain, you start over at day 1. In the story, David faced this on day 12. It was a Sunday. His friends were sleeping in. His mind told him one day won't matter. But if he had listened to that voice, he would have stayed stuck in the same cycle of failure that defined his 20 seconds. The 90-day window is long enough to build momentum, a state where the habit becomes easier than the excuse. By day 60, David's business was already generating income because he had refused to break the chain. However, to make it to day 90, you need to change how you view your own feelings. Here is the reveal that most productivity gurus get wrong. Motivation is just weather. David's father explained that some days are sunny and energizing. Those are the easy days when everyone works. But most days are too hot, too cold, too wet, or too dry. The reveal is this: you do not need to feel like doing the work to do the work. David realized that his father wasn't being cruel by making him work in the rain. He was teaching him that the rice, your dreams, your business, your health, doesn't care how you feel. Discipline is the ability to show up regardless of whether it is sunny or stormy inside your head. Once you accept that motivation is unreliable, you stop waiting for it. The third part of the framework is tactical. Expect bad weather. Most people plan for success, assuming everything will go perfectly. The framework from the sources suggests the opposite. You must expect to be exhausted, you must expect to be sick, and you must expect the world to be in chaos. David's bad weather was literal rain and cold that bit like knives. Later in the city, his bad weather was the mental exhaustion of a paycheck-to-paycheck life. The framework teaches us that bad weather is not a reason to quit, it is the whole point of the exercise. If you only work when you feel good, you are not practicing discipline. You are just following a mood. David showed up on day 3 inches the rain, and day 7 with burning eyes. By doing the work, especially when he didn't feel like it, he proved to himself that his promises were stronger than his excuses. This mental shift leads to a massive tactical advantage that David used to outpace his competition. By following the 5:00 a.m. rule within the 90-day framework, David discovered a secret weapon: the 2 quiet hours. Between 5:00 a.m. and 7:00 a.m., the world is silent. There are no emails, no distractions, and no one needs anything from you. The sources show that in these 90 days, David completed more work than in the previous 3 years combined. This is the intensity that comes from consistency. Because he showed up every day, he didn't have to waste time getting back into the flow. He was already in it. This time became his dream-building sanctuary. Whether you use this for your business, your health, or learning, these uninterrupted hours are where the millionaire version of you is built. But what happens after the 90 days are over? Does the cruelty ever end? The final part of the framework is understanding that discipline is a transferable skill. The sources explain that once David proved he could do one hard thing, waking up at 5:00 a.m., he realized he could do anything consistently. He applied the same rain or shine mentality to exercise, to his relationships, and to saving money. The framework isn't just about a 5:00 a.m. alarm. It's about keeping a promise to yourself. Years later, even after David was financially free, the alarm still rang at 5:00 a.m. Why? Because he understood that the moment you start negotiating with your excuses, you begin to lose your integrity. He eventually passed this framework to his son, not to teach him about rice, but to teach him how to become a person who keeps their word. So how do you apply this today? The 90-day framework is simple. First, pick one non-negotiable commitment. Second, do it for 90 days straight, break the chain and you restart. Third, expect bad weather and show up anyway. Remember, the rice doesn't care if you're tired. Your future only cares if you show up. Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier for tomorrow. Comment below with the one thing you are committing to for the next 90 days. Show up, rain or shine.